Oh man, so Megan Thee Stallion has broken her silence. She's finally speaking about Tory Lanez being found guilty on 3 counts in regards to her being shot back in 2020. Alright, so let's get to it, man. This is what she got to say. She spoke to Elle Magazine. We're going to talk about some of the key takeaways that I had from that conversation that she had on Elle Magazine. And then we're going to go ahead and also give you some thoughts that I may have. Some light thoughts, none too crazy. So she started off by saying, I don't want to call myself a victim. As I reflect on the past 3 years, I view myself as a survivor because I have truly survived the unimaginable. Not only did I survive being shot by someone I trusted and considered a close friend, but I overcame the public humiliation of having my name and reputation dragged through the mud by the individual for the entire world to see. For years, my attacker laughed and joked about my trauma. For years, my attacker peddled false narratives about what happened on the night of July 12, 2020. For years, my attacker tried to leverage social media to take away my power. Imagine how it feels to be called a liar every day, especially from a person who was once a part of your inner circle. When I was younger, my parents warned me about being too trusting. My daddy used to say, just because somebody smiles in your face doesn't mean they're really down for you. My parents emphasized the importance of protecting my spirit, but even as I went to school every day, I naively believed that everyone came with pure intentions and wanted to be my friend. Over the years, I realized that certain people didn't need a logical reason to be hateful or mean, but my sympathetic side still wanted to give others the benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, it took until this devastating experience for me to fully grasp the magnitude of my parents' message back then. She continued to say I could have let the adversity break me, but I persevered, even as people treated my trauma like a running joke. First, there were conspiracy theories that I was never shot, then came the false narratives that my former best friend shot me. Even some of my peers in the music industry piled on with memes, jokes, and sneak dissings and completely ignored the fact that I could have lost my life. Instead of condemning any form of violence against a woman, these individuals tried to justify my attackers' actions. I wish I could have handled this situation properly. That was my intention, but once my attacker made it public, everything changed. By the time I identified my attacker, I was completely drained. Many thought I was inexplicably healed because I was still smiling through the pain, still posting on social media, still performing, still dancing, and still releasing music. The truth is that I started falling into a depression. I didn't feel like making music. I was in such a low place that I didn't even know what I wanted to rap about. I wondered if people even cared anymore. There would be times that I'd literally be backstage or in my hotel crying my eyes out, and then I had to pull Meg and Pete together and be Megan Thee Stallion. It never crossed my mind that people wouldn't believe me. Still, I knew the truth and the indisputable facts would prevail. I had worked way too hard to reach this point in my career to let taunts deter me. When the guilty verdict came on December 23rd, 2022, it was more than just vindication for me. It was victory for every woman who has ever been shamed, dismissed, and blamed for a violent crime committed against them. Okay, so that's some things she said in the article. There's still some more. You can go ahead and check it out on Elle Magazine. That's who she did the cover with. There's some more things that she got into to reflect on the situation, but I just want to say a couple things real quick. A full transparent moment. As a content creator, I learned a lot while covering the Megan Thee Stallion case. There are several times that I use my personal experiences and judgment skills to guess what these complete strangers may or may have not done. And I'll tell you right now, that is a losing battle because we will never know the full story. But with all of the evidence that's being released, I'm understanding of the verdict that was reached. I'm gonna keep it G with you. The conversation that can be had moving forward is to tell women that despite the fear of backlash in these situations, you should come forward with the complete and honest truth. It's my opinion that the initial fabrications introduced a lot of doubt in this story. But to speak to the fellas, I know a lot of people are still not buying whatever may happen, but I don't care. Because you may come across a similar situation, you may come across a similar crossroad, whether you believe this shit or not. But all men just know to always operate with confidence, understanding that you validate yourself, my boy, and you never have to physically impose your will onto the next person to make them respect you. And definitely not any woman, alright? So even beyond this case, Tory has shown a weakness in controlling his temper. That's with men and women, you feel me? And we mostly seen it with dudes. Folks may say that's that little man syndrome shit. I don't fucking know. I ain't never got experience no shit like that. But we've seen this happen before when homie hasn't controlled his emotions, and we see where it's landed him. Due to his talent and charisma, there's a lot of people still out here that's willing to give him a second chance. And that builds up your psyche to be able to continue crashing out, because people aren't going to always point out you're wrong when you're fucking up. But Tory Lanez does have some temperaments that should have been corrected, even past the point of when it came to dealing with the Megan Thee Stallion situation. He had more things that happened in the future that showed that his personality wasn't really changing. So if you continue crashing out, continue making bad decisions, like say for instance with the situation with August Alsina, I mean, in some instances you can understand why, you know, how things like that can get chippy, how we can go to a fisticuffs. You can for certain people, but those are a lot of irrational people that will make that decision. If you someone like Tory Lanez that has a lot to lose, you will hope at some point you will look at the big picture and say, I don't need to be involving myself in these type of things. Proving myself or trying to demand respect from whomever is not worth my freedom. And that's why I'm going to rest the situation right here. Many people may still believe that Tory Lanez is innocent, ain't do nothing. I'm going to tell you right now, I thought that was a possibility until I heard that phone call. And I ain't stupid. You ain't going to pull the wool over my damn eyes and tell me some bullshit. I ain't stupid. I know what that phone call sound like. I know what it meant. I understand shit. In regards to being able to prove that phone call is what it was in a court of law, somehow the prosecution pulled it off. But if I was a member of that jury, I definitely would have understood. And that's why I have my stance now, telling fellas to make sure that you always operate with confidence, validate yourself so you ain't got to worry about validating yourself in somebody else's eyes. So you don't have to ever physically impose your will on someone else if they don't respect you. Just remove yourself from the situation and put yourself in a room with people that do respect you. Show your worth through your work. That's all I got to say. I'm going to sign out, man. It's your boy Stacy. Yo.